good whatever you're listening on or whatever day you're listening on. You know, when me and my, I guess, co-promoter, Mark, we were
Tag
thinking,
team
yeah,
partner.
tag team partner, we were thinking, what does the world need, in 2021? We were just thinking.
Does it need a COVID vaccine?
uh,
Does
we
it?
we wish, but no, we were like, you know what the world needs? It needs another wrestling podcast by two nobodies. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. World peace,
No.
universal basic income. Nah, get
Mm-mm.
out. What we need to get us through is a wrestling podcast by the fans for the fans. Who needs to hear from like the most name brand people in professional wrestling when you could listen
From the
to us?
holler. But no, thank you if you do listening. But this is something that I don't know. It's something that I mean, first of all, to give a little background, like me and Mark, other than probably like my brother, Mark's like the guy that I talk to wrestling the most about. And well, another my boy Josh Hughes. But it's just like,
Shut up.
yeah, me and Mark, it just kind of always had like the same interests in wrestling and everything like that. Even though we may disagree with some stuff, but pretty much we've seen numerous events live together. Always talked about that, and this was always something that I don't know if you have ever wanted to do, but this is kind of something like what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I can't say that in my head I ever thought I would try to start a podcast, but when you were like, "You want to start a podcast?" I was just like, "Sure." And so here we are, because that's what you do when your friend asks you if you want to start a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
You just say yes, and here we are. Welcome to
Well, Mark.
MTPW.
Well, Mark saw like he was backstage and he saw me just getting pounded by two dudes. I had no one. My partner, my original partner, left me in the corner, and you just couldn't take it no more, could you?
No,
But
I came like a phoenix running out of the back, down the ramp, made the save, got the hot tag, and here
hmm
we are.
or you could say you were like Sting, came down from the rafters.
It's Sting!
Speaking of Sting, I mean, with wrestling, we got to talk about with what's current, and thankfully for us, Sting is current, and it's been a weird week for wrestling, wouldn't you say, Mark? I mean, with the
Yeah,
news.
it's. I know, obviously, the death of Jon Huber, Brodie Lee has been sweeping the professional wrestling world, and so we just want to take a moment um, to honor Mr. Brodie Lee, the Exalted One, with a quick moment of silence, T's and P's to his family. And it's been a big deal. Obviously that's had a huge impact on the wrestling community as a whole, not just AEW, but I'm sure if you have seen online WWE wrestlers, just wrestling, the community in general has really been touched and impacted in such a way. I think, and Tyler and I were talking about this before we started, but I think that John had the kind of impact, and especially with his untimely death, it reminds me a lot of like an Owen Hart or an Eddie Guerrero, especially because like you've never heard anything bad about John. You've never heard anything bad about the way that he worked or the way that he was backstage in the locker room. Like you've only ever heard really positive things about him. That he's a family man. He loved his kids. He loved his wife, and he loved professional wrestling. And he loved to work hard and to make much of professional wrestling and the people that he was around. So, I think that obviously the after effects of his unfortunate passing will be felt for a while. I know that there have been some really cool, just like tribute pictures and videos, and I know that, for example, like AEW selling a Brodie Lee shirt where all the funds are going to John's family. CM Punk on ProWrestlingTees.com, all of his shirts for the month of January, any kind of money that CM Punk makes on Pro Wrestling Tees, he's giving that to John's family. And so that's a really beautiful thing to see how the wrestling community can come together. Um, but you hate to see that it has to come together un, in such an unfortunate circumstance. But I think it just shows the power that is in wrestling fans and the wrestling community just being so connected the way that we are. We'll miss Brodie Lee. I'm really interested to see, not to just obviously pivot and just go away from that, but to come back into the AEW circle in the realm. Like I'm excited to see how that storyline will continue and evolve with especially the Dark Order. I know last night the AEW the Brodie Lee special um, was just really good, really beneficial to watch. I also appreciated how they still had a mix of storylines involved, but the main point was we just want to honor Brodie Lee and his life and his legacy. And I think that was a really special episode of Dynamite. Probably one of the best Dynamites that AEW has produced across the board.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm probably not the first to say this or anything like that, but I don't know, man, dude. It reminded me of like when Eddie Guerrero died, or it's just a total surprise of it. It's
Right.
like I mean, we all know that was it after the dog collar match with Cody that he was off for a little bit.
Yeah, that was his last professional match on television, and then, he was hadn't been seen on TV, hadn't been seen on BTE, and I'm not one that kind of is like trying to get in the dirt sheets all the time, but I just figured, okay, he's taking time off, he's going to spend time with his family, and then it's like he's going to come back, because that's what you see in professional wrestling. Sometimes guys go and they make a big run for a while, and then they end up coming back, and it's like, okay, it's just like we never missed a moment with them.
I mean, that's like what
Um,
Moxley's going with right now. Like
right,
he was out for a little
right,
bit.
and we don't know. Well, I guess John's going to be coming back on Dynamite next week.
Yep.
Um, and we'll get to some more Moxley stuff later, especially with Wrestle Kingdom right around the corner. That's a tease in the industry in the podcast business. I guess that's a thing we're going to get used to now.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, guys take time off, especially more so now in today's professional wrestling world compared to back in the day. Guys want to go home, they want to be with their families, whereas like the Hulk Hogan's and the Roddy Pipers and the Macho Man's, it's been 300 plus days on the road every year because you had to make a living for and you had to just support the business. But professional wrestling has changed in that regard, and I think it's a good change. And it just sucks. Tyler, you texted me Saturday. I was at home with my family celebrating Christmas, and I was so taken back. Like, couldn't believe it. Obviously, check social media, and everything's just all these memories, all these pictures of John and stories from different people that he shared a locker room with, and it's just like this shock of this is real, and we've both touched on it. It's very similar to to Eddie and to Owen, just tragic deaths of men who were gone way too soon.
But like, I know we're going to talk about this like later on when we talk about AEW. But like during the tribute, I mean, they were showing photos like we seen when they were originally posted on social media. I mean, it was just crazy.
And even just within the AEW episode last night, you see Lance Archer giving that
Yeah.
homage to the Luke Harper character. You see Eric Rowan, Redbeard, coming in and making a save. Like, oh my gosh, I was so shocked when that happened. And it's one of those things. Like, I just got so excited off my couch, but I'm also like at the verge of tears at the same time because you see the emotion and the connection, and and Jericho and JR and the commentary team did a really good job of helping to establish that connection for people that might not be WWE fans, and so they don't know about John's history with WWE, being Luke Harper, being in the Wyatt family, being in the Bludgeon Brothers, and that run that he and Eric had for so long together.
Mhm.
Um, but to see him be able to come in and just celebrate and obviously make a save with the Dark Order, but to be able to come in and be a part of the celebration of life was really cool. It was really really cool.
Yeah, he was able to say his he was able to say his message as well with the end. That was like probably like the fourth or fifth time. I'm like, damn. It was just. But also, that's the cool thing about AEW, and that's one of the things I appreciate about AEW is that they're willing to do stuff like this. Like they're not going to do anything petty or you know what I'm saying. Like they're willing,
Right.
like, are they going to sign Eric Rowan? Probably not. You know, but it's cool that they're able to help him out. You know, not help him out, but well, I guess help him
Let
out.
him. Well, but it's letting him come in and be a part of celebrating this bigger thing, and that's professional wrestling. And in the moment of last night, it was celebrating Luke Harper, Big Rig, Jon Huber, Mr. Brodie Lee, the Exalted One. But I think AEW has this idea of like we want to celebrate professional wrestling. That's the bigger picture. And I do appreciate, and we'll get into this in the midst of everything that we'll talk about, not just today but beyond, um, because part of what we want to do is talk about the world of professional wrestling, because the world of professional wrestling goes beyond WWE and even AEW, and you see that even on Dynamite, and you see that on AEW Dark, with the fact that Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, the last two NWA World Women's Champions, have been featured very prominently on television. The fact that Kenny, he hasn't done this as much recently, but Kenny's been carrying, is still the AAA Mega Champion. Um,
Even his
the
impact with
fact,
Don Callis
oh,
recently.
absolutely right, yeah, and so. Um, it's refreshing almost to see that here's the world of professional wrestling and it goes just beyond this one company. And not that there's anything wrong with what WWE does, but it is just, it's a breath of fresh air where it's like, oh, like this professional wrestling company exists in the midst of all these other companies, and we're going to recognize the history of these wrestlers and their careers and celebrate what they've done.
Definitely. So, do you just want to? I mean, since we're already talking about AEW, you just want to kick it off, just dive straight into it.
Yeah, let's jump in. Let's jump in off the deep end. Might as well.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I think I
So,
think a big thing to talk about as we look into AEW, and we're kicking off this podcast at the end of the year, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I think it would be smart for us to just even have a quick run through of the AEW champions, starting with the number one wrestler in AEW, the AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega. And then we still have Hikaru Shida as the women's champion. Darby Allin, of course, is your TNT champion. And then the Young Bucks, Nick and Mac Jackson, are the AEW Tag Team Champions. And of course, and I know that this might be a controversial thing to say, but the most important championship in All Elite Wrestling, the BTE champion, Johnny Hungy, John Silver.
I thought you were gonna do FTW. Brian
Nah, well,
Cage.
nah, he's a stooge and
No,
a sellout.
dude.
No,
Brian
no, of
Cage.
course, Brian Cage, the
Team
FTW
Taz.
champion. Well, I mean that's not a recognized title, or is it? We're still trying to figure that one out. So
He's the second baddest man on the planet, brother.
I'll
Behind
make sure to add.
behind Taz, of course. Well, and also you probably have to include the Pinky, the ring Pinky, wouldn't you say?
Oh,
MJF.
yeah,
Cause
yeah, you're right.
I'm pretty sure
You're
that's been
right.
defended more than the
It is.
FTW.
Well, the diamond ring has been defended, I guess, really one other time. Because MJF won it last year, defeating Hangman, and then this year he won with an assist from the Inner Circle to defeat Orange Cassidy. But other than that, I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back and look to see if the Dynamite Diamond has had other defenses beyond those two. There might have been like one other, but
So the show started off with a 10 bell salute for obviously Brodie Lee, and it sucks to see it, but it's nice to see the camaraderie of like the pretty much the roster and the company, and also to include the family of Brodie Lee. I like that as well, and they did the 10 bell salute, and then to kick off the night, the Young Bucks and Colt Cabana versus Matt Hardy and Private Party. What was your thoughts on this match?
man, Colt Cabana standing tall, giving the Dark Order salute was just like a kick in the gut. For the sake of you could see just how much it meant to him to be able to be a part of the show and to honor Mr. Brodie Lee in this way. I thought the match was great. I think that it's really cool to see. the chemistry that is between the Young Bucks and Colt Cabana. Colt is just one of those great utility wrestlers. He can do a little bit of everything, and he just has. It seems like it doesn't matter who you put him in the ring with, whether for or against. Colt's just gonna have great. He's gonna work hard. He's gonna work great. And he's gonna make everybody else look really good. Um, it was good to see Boom Boom pick up the pin, and I think it's obviously Private Party's in a really big pickle. Do we continue to follow Matt Hardy? Matt's kind of on this weird like everybody should thank me, everybody should respect me because I'm Matt Hardy and the truth is the truth. And it kind of puts Private Party in this tough spot. Like they came in under Matt. Matt was going to mentor them, but now Matt is really in this place of he's not sure what he's going to do, what he wants to do. And so uh really really good stuff storyline wise there as far as like where's Private Party going to go? What are they going to end up doing? Um and then I know that you'll disagree with this, but man, the Bucks are money, and it was a good match. It was a really good opening match, and I'm sure it was really difficult. I couldn't begin to imagine what it was like to try to wrestle that after being a part of the 10 bell salute.
Just two questions. Did you listen with commentary on?
I did.
Okay, when the Young Bucks did the Melter driver, did they call it the Indie driver, or was I mean it the Indie taker, or was I
The
just
indie taker, yeah.
okay?
That is what they said on
Okay. I just
commentary.
want to know if I heard that right. But I mean, I don't know what they're doing with Matt Hardy. I mean, first of all, the dude almost died against Sammy Guevara, and now they're trying to make him kind of like a bad guy. Like I just don't feel like that's I don't know. But that's the thing is like I don't know what to do with him. I just feel like Matt Hardy like he kind of like reached his peak with the broken gimmick. And then like if he's just Matt Hardy, he's kind of like meh. AEW should be like not grateful, but like glad that he's on the roster just because of what he brings to not only in the ring but outside the ring as well. But it just I don't know. It just seems like I don't know if he's gonna help get Private Party over because it just seems like they've been doing nothing with Private Party for a year, and it just seems like no matter what they try to do, it doesn't work. I mean, they even showed off the last year, like in the first round, like they upset the Young Bucks in the tag team championship tournament,
Right.
and it just seemed like ever since then, it's just they haven't been doing anything. It just seems like there's always tag teams that's always stepping up or like better than them, like SCU. I mean, the Acclaim now. I mean, which later they came out to confront the Young Bucks until SCU showed up and threw them in. But it just seems like, and then FTR showed up. It just seemed like they never got their proper. I don't know. It just seems like they're like kind of like in the same lane as they were. Like it don't. They're not better, but they're not worse. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they're a phenomenal tag team, but I just feel like with AEW, they're like another tag team that does does flips.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think the thing that you have to remember is, Private Party's only been wrestling for 5 years. Um,
Last year was four.
and right, yeah, but going into they made their debut in August 21st of 2015. So to be able to have them make a run, it's not that they aren't ready for that championship run, but I mean, when you bring in FTR and you bring in the hottest tag team at the time with everything that was going on with them, like you'd be stupid to not put the belts on them and let them shoot off to the moon. Um, I think with Private Party, you're getting a slow build where it's like they're just continuing to slowly make this build that will one day culminate in something. I don't know what that something will be like or how it will look like or how they'll get there, but it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. And I think with Matt Hardy, when you watch, if you get into BTE, you watch BTE on YouTube. It's being the elite. Um, in the most recent episode, that's the thing that Matt went on this tirade and he talked about how like he got online after the Sammy Guevara match, and everybody's like, "Oh, Matt sucks. Matt should be taken off TV. There are too many young people that are not getting TV time because of Matt Hardy." And so Matt Hardy's like, "Well, if you like you need to thank me. Like I've put my body on my line. I've put everything on the line for professional wrestling for so long, and now people just want to see me, be put out to pasture. And Matt's like, I still have too much left to give, and I deserve my due. I deserve my credit. And so it'll be interesting to see how all that moves forward. Is Matt going to leave Private Party astray, or will Private Party break away and say like, Matt, you're going to go into a downward spiral, and we got to move forward because that's what's best for us.
Second match. I mean, it seems like it's just going to be pretty much the Dark Order versus whoever. It seems like tonight. Next up is members of Dark Order with guests, wouldn't you say? Because Lance Archer and Stu Grayson and Evil Uno faces Eddie Kingston and Butcher and the Blade. Eddie Kingston grabbed the mic and he said he's gonna miss Brodie Lee, and then he just said then he just went into whole screw you mode to say he's nothing without the Dark Order is nothing without Brodie Lee, and kind of, I kind of like that, and I'm just gonna say this now, like I liked what him and MJF did. Kind of kept it like storyline wise, like why would Eddie Kingston do this, or like why would MJF do that, but also like I feel like they also got their comeuppance.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the way that AEW handled the show last night is there was obviously the main goal was to honor Brodie, and it happened. It was very successful in that regard. But you still had just enough of like a continuation of storylines, Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston. And Lance, obviously has been battling against Eddie's family. And so you get that continuation of the storyline. You get MJF just being a prick to everybody because that's who he is, it's what he does. Um, and so for him to be able to just continue with that is big. Um, and so you still had enough of like storyline builds that will go into the next couple of weeks of AEW television without taking away from the main point of what last night was about. And so I think it's really good. That was really brilliant the way that they were able to do that.
I didn't know this, but I didn't know Eddie Kingston was a Notre Dame fan. I didn't know that because he came out with a Notre Dame jersey. That kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Obviously, I could care less about Notre Dame. So
They're going to get their butts whooped. But anyways, pretty much it was just I don't know. It just seemed like with this, it's hard. It's kind of hard to go into depth with tonight's matches just because there's so much going on. But also it kind of meant nothing. It was just like a feel good show.
yeah, I mean there were things that moved storylines along, but they weren't extremely major or impactful. You'll be able to see highlight clips of them later on down the road. Last night was just to help provide a way, specifically for the AEW community, the AEW company as a whole, um, to honor the life of Brodie and to celebrate him and to celebrate professional wrestling. And so, with all of the in between interviews, like just people talking about Brodie and who he is, what he meant. I mean, that was the point of the show. And so you did still, I mean, and you continue to see these minor um, storyline advancements. Thinking about moving forward with the Inner Circle and Dark Order match with Hangman. Um, I loved the moment where Alex Reynolds and John Silver and Hangman all had the papers
Hmm.
in their gear. I freaked out about that because I love watching BTE, and yeah, that was just one of those things that like almost just kind of brought that tear to my eye. And to see MJF be a tool bag, be the prick that he is, like that was great. Like that was needed. It helped advance the storyline as far as this is what we're going for in this match. And to see -1 come in, even get to hit MJF with a kendo stick, um, that's good stuff. But you also, in the midst of celebrating Brodie and all that, you see this: is Hangman gonna join the Dark Order? That's a big thing that is kind of on the surface, and it's just like, especially now with Brodie stepping out, you have to ask this question: like, is there a spot for Hangman in the Dark Order, and what's that going to look like? Um, because Hangman's been on this journey ever since he lost the inaugural AEW Championship match. That he's lost his purpose, and his fall from grace with the Elite has put him at the depths. And it looks like the Dark Order is there to try to pick him back up. So will he accept that? Will he come in? Will remain to be seen. But I'm interested to see how that goes moving forward.
I don't know. Like it, one way it wouldn't surprise me if they just totally drop it because it's going to be hard to fill that, or kind of do like what they were. They're going to try to do what they originally planned for, but it's just going to be hard to see. Or I think those are going to be like the two options. I don't think they're going to be able to like get someone to replace him. Like even if they wanted to replace him, I think like the only person that could even replace him would be someone like I don't know, like the Undertaker or someone like that. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't like how he first started with the Dark Order, but like as the months went on, I started liking it more. Like he finally got the chance to prove what he was able to do, and to me, it seemed like finally show like how good he was in the last couple of months. I mean, with that epic match with Cody, you know, that well, which was his last match, it just kind of like that like opened my eyes. Like I always know he was a good wrestler, but like that was great. You know, like he was able to
Right.
do everything, and they just had a match. Which oh yeah, what's your thoughts on Butcher and the Blade?
Butcher and the Blade. I'll get to that in a second. I want to clarify. I don't think that uh, I might have made it sound like I think that Hangman's going to replace Brodie. Hangman's not going to replace Brodie. I think that there could be a spot for Hangman in the Dark Order if they decide to go that way. I don't think you ever replace a Brodie Lee. I think that because of this, I think that you can shape and shift the way that you take the Dark
Mm.
Order moving forward, but I don't think that you can come in and replace him unless you have to have somebody really special, and I don't even know who that would be off the top of my
See,
head.
that's what I said. Like someone like the Undertaker. I'm not saying the Undertaker would make it perfect, but you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah,
someone like that big of a name, because like
right.
he made that role.
Back to Butcher and the Blade. I like the Butcher and the Blade. I think that they're a good change of pace for the AEW tag team division. Um, they bring a lot of power, and they have the bunny with them, and so she adds a whole extra piece that you have to be aware of. Um, but yeah, I think that the Butcher and the Blade provide just a different speed. You know, it's like you go to a restaurant and they're just like a whole different page on the menu. Like it's just something completely different, but it's something that's offered at the restaurant and people enjoy it. So they definitely are a good change of pace for what a lot of AEW has to offer.
Next up was Hangman Page, Alec Reynolds, and John Oliver of Dark Order versus MJF, Santana Ortiz. Pretty good match considering who was in the match. Um, loved MJF with his I don't know what his headband said, but I loved his trunks with the
Proud and powerful.
proud and powerful in Spanish. Is that what it was, or
I
was it
believe
proud?
so.
Okay,
I think
and
it just said proud and powerful, but
okay, I can't read. No, oh the stream I was watching was not HD, so that's why I couldn't see it. And then but I loved his Puerto Rican flag on his trunks. It was a pretty good match. Knowing who's involved. MJF kind of healed it up with Brodie Jr. -1, Brodie's son. Kind of match went on, and he went back out there, took his mask off. You know, was trying to get under her skin, I guess you could say. And then he just took the best cane shot in the world and laid him out.
ah,
And then pretty much, yeah, Hangman Page, Doc Reynolds, and John Silver won the match. No surprise. What was your thoughts on it? I mean,
I mean,
I
like
think
I
we pretty much said. I think what our thoughts was the main highlight of it earlier, but I just want to know if you had anything
right,
else to say.
and no, I mean we pretty much kind of covered it. Try to tie it in with the previous match with Uno and Uno and Stu of the Dark Order with Lance Archer against Butcher and Blade and Eddie Kingston. A lot of that similar stuff, and it was cool. You know, obviously John Silver, the gear that he wore was bought for him by Brodie Lee. for some stuff on BTE that they just never got to film. So that's just another really cool tribute thing that happened in the midst of the show. Um, I think Johnny Hungy is he's a fan favorite here in the DeLong house, and and we're just I mean I'm excited to see how the whole storyline with Paige moving forward, what that looks like, as well as MJF in the inner circle. And as far as next week goes, you got a big match between
Yeah,
Wardlow
big boys.
and Jake Hager.
Let's
To
go.
quote Big E, you got two
Big
big
meat.
sweaty men bumping meat. So
Yeah,
um,
meat
that's gonna be a big
boys.
match. It'll be interesting to see what things look like with the with inner circle moving forward too.
Yep. Uh, more. I mean, sorry, I should have said this throughout. When it happened, but during, after, like before and after matches, they were playing tributes. John Moxley was like the first one that led off, and pretty much like everyone was talking about, pretty much like what man, good man, not only a good man but like a good dad, Brodie Lee was. But next up was Anna Jay of the Dark Order and Tay Conti versus Britt Baker and Penelope Floyd with
Ford.
Ford with our boy Miro.
The best man.
Dude, it's not the time.
Every day is Miro Day.
No, don't say that. No, no, man, no, no,
He is the best
no,
man,
he's not,
and every day
dude.
is his day.
No, man. Let's just say it. This podcast is huge Rusev guys. But dude, I don't like. He's a chump in AEW, man. He rather be a streamer. He rather be playing video games. It seems like. I want that Bulgarian brute back.
Look, here's the deal, man. If you can make money, make your money. If it's streaming video games, streaming
No.
video games. Look, we've for the amount of time that you and me and our
The
friends have talked about streaming video games, if Miro's making millions and millions of dollars streaming and wrestling, more power to him, pal. Let him do it.
I get that.
Because he's a gamer boy doesn't mean you're still not getting the brute inside the ring.
Dude, he's barely been the brute. I don't care what he does on his free time.
He's not really wrestled. He's not had a chance.
That's what I'm saying.
Give him time. Give him time.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
anyway,
That's what I'm
we gotta
saying.
keep
No,
it moving.
no, I'm into this. That's why I didn't want to do it because I know we're going to do this. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't care what he does on his free time. Streaming, taking Lana out to sushi. I don't care what he does. But at AEW, I want him to start cracking some backs. Like, I want him to be. What am I doing? I'm going to break your back, Kip Sabian. You've been holding me back. I'm feuding over how two dudes destroyed my video game console or arcade cabinet. That's all I'm saying. I don't care what he does. I just want Rusev or like a better version
He
of
can't
it.
be Rusev anymore.
Uh,
That's old and dead in New York.
Shut up, Mark. You know what I'm talking about. I would say pretty much the only noteworthy thing of this match was Britt Baker after she lost the match. Oh yeah, that's right. Anna Jay and Tay Conti won after Britt Baker lost the match. She ordered Tony Schiavone. Schiavone interviewed Baker, and pretty much she just started complaining to the crowd, and Thunder Rosa came out, and they started brawling. I feel that was like the only noteworthy thing of this match. I don't know. I wish Haraj Shida. Sorry if I butchered her first name.
Hikaru Shida.
Hikaru Shida. Like I don't know why she couldn't be Anna Jay's partner. Maybe Anna Jay and have they been teaming together?
Well, the thing with Anna Jay and Tay Conti is that they are really close friends, and so in the midst of the storylines, Anna has been trying to recruit Tay into the Dark Order since she herself has been recruited by Mr. Brodie herself.
Okay.
So
Is this on TV or is this on After Dark or BT?
That's more TV. That's more TV. Maybe a little bit of dark stuff.
Okay.
But um, after Anna made her debut and she lost and she got recruited into the Dark Order, she's been trying to get Tay Conti into the Dark Order as well with her, just to expand the group. And so they teamed together last night. I think the match showed just how much Anna's continuing to grow as a performer. I think that she could be big for the AEW women's division as the company grows and moves forward.
See, Mar, this is why you're the AEW guy. I just before today, I watch highlights. Um, Up next, Team Taz versus 10 of the Dark Order, Cody Rhodes and Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, and especially with the connections that there are in that match. 10 with Cody, the fact that 10, Cody, and Orange are all Brodie Jr.'s favorite wrestlers, and that was the Brodie Jr. match.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as far as closing the show match wise, that's the way to do it for sure. And great match by those guys. Um, I think Brodie Jr. got his storybook ending with the way the match ended, and then we had some post match fireworks.
Mm-hmm. Was that like was that did Arn and Taz did they have that weird chair stand up? Was that during the match or was that after the match?
I'm not sure. I think that was in the middle of the match.
But yeah, but 10 of the Dark Order and Cody Rhodes and Orange Cassidy defeated Team Taz. Boo. And then after the win, well, I guess Cassidy, Cody, and 10 took turns hitting their finishers on Ricky Starks, and they 10 took the pin, and then pretty much Team Taz was like, nah, we don't like that. We don't want to end on a good mood. So they beat the heroes down, and then now the shadows came. Darby Allin came for the save. And then of course, yeah, Darby Allin's dad Sting came came to rescue as well.
Might be Grandpa at this point. We're not sure.
um, but yeah, pretty much they just made the bad guy scatter it off, and then they ended the show. Tony Khan, I guess what is he, the president?
Well, he's the owner, and the
He's not
you
the
know the
owner.
CEO. He is.
His dad's the owner.
Oh, don't even get me started. It's Tony's company. Shad's just there because he has to be.
But no, he came out, presented Brodie Lee's son and family. Well, they came, like the family came out as well with his wrestling boots on and not on, sorry, and they placed it in the middle of the ring, and then Tony Khan presented Brodie Jr. with he named him what TNT champion for life.
Yes. So obviously, the tradition of when a wrestler would retire, he would leave his boots in the ring. Um, and so obviously in this moment, a really touching tribute just to Mr. Brodie Lee leaving it all in the ring for us and for the wrestling community. And then the belt that they gave to Brodie Jr. was the same belt that his father won as the TNT champion. So pretty cool little tribute there. Darby will get a new strap, I'm sure, and obviously the montage at the end. We've already talked about that. A plethora of pictures of Jon and his family, as well as with all of his friends throughout his career, highlighting his days in AEW, his days in WWE, and the rest of the world. And obviously, there's no better way to end the show than the way that they did.
Definitely. Since I'm the only one that passed the second test to watch NXT, I'm just gonna give you the Spark Notes version. I'm just gonna see what you thought of it. What I tell you, Mark, what you thought about it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I will do that.
Okay, next week's going to be the New Year's Evil, which is kind of be going to be their what they're going to be up against AEW's. What is AEW's calling theirs?
New
The
Year's
New
Bash.
Year's Bash, which is a two-night event. New Year's
It's gonna
Evil.
be a two-night event.
Uh, Tonight wasn't really much of a show. It was the NXT year-end awards, Uh, I guess we can kind of talk about that. What's your thoughts on? Uh, can you bring that up, Mark? Is there any way you can bring up those awards lists? 'Cause I can't. I'm not going to name them off, all of them off. Just kind of want to give
Yeah,
you.
give me if you give me a hot second, I will get those pulled up.
Yeah, because
Um,
there's just a couple I want to talk about. Um,
so event of the year went to, of course, NXT Takeover War Games.
yeah, I was
Um,
sorry.
which will well I'm gonna jump around here. Obviously, female competitor of the year, Ira Shira. Uh, male competitor of the year, Stidge Adam Cole. Uh,
Adam
match
Cole
of the year.
stinks.
Match of the year goes to Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly for
Oh,
Takeover 31.
that was good.
Um,
That was good.
Future Star of the Year goes to Austin Theory. And then
Okay,
here we
okay,
go.
okay. This is one of the things I want to talk about. Dude, this list sucked. Future Star, like there was only two legitimate like answers I could think of. Austin Theory, but dude, I thought Leon Ruff was going to do it because you know how he had that North American run a couple weeks ago or months ago.
Right.
But dude, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought the only person that would like do the closest impact was like Indy Hartwell, just because she's part of the way. Like, other than these,
Right.
like they're nothing. But I just thought Leon Ruff was going to win it just because he won the title. But I could see Austin Theory winning it. But it's kind of like Geno Smith being the best quarterback of his draft class. Not saying much.
Well, and let's be honest. Let's be real. I know that this is going to get a lot of heat, and I don't care. Future Star should have gone to only
Yeah.
one person, and they were snubbed from the list. Pat McAfee should have been the Future Star. He's the
But what
highlight
about
of a
breakout of? Hold
generation.
on, go to breakout star of the year. That's where I kind of lead off, and that's where I would also lead off as well.
And there were some other things that yeah, and he got screwed there too. Breakout Star of the Year goes to Shotzi Blackheart.
Dude, that was a
Congratulations to you.
that's a joke. That's a
However,
joke. That's a joke. That's a
I
joke,
mean,
dude.
I don't disagree.
Even
Pat
though
got screwed,
well, listen,
and
even though we're Pat boys, but dude, Damian
we are
Priest,
totally here for the brand.
Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, Timothy Thatcher. But dude, I'm not saying Shotzi because like, dude, the only two things I remember for from her this year was she hosted Halloween Havoc and she was in that not good female version of the War Games, like the female not sorry the female match of War Games. That's the only thing I and also her tank got destroyed. Those are the only three things I remember of her. But dude, Cameron Grimes is also good as well.
Right. There is a lot of up and coming things happening
Hell,
in
even
NXT.
I honestly thought Raquel Gonzalez was going to win it. I really like her. I think I like them powerhouses, and I think I don't know. I think she'd probably be an NXT champ, women's champ soon. But go ahead.
She she very well could be, and I'm just gonna go ahead and beat the dead horse. Pat got screwed. We are huge McAfee fans, um,
But he
and
did
I
win
know I
something.
know that he did win Rivalry of the Year with that stooge Adam Cole, um, and Adam Cole, just like Pat McAfee said on Twitter, you are welcome. But I unfortunately understand it's hard to give a breakout star to a guy that is not a full time member of the roster. But
But
I
also that
mean,
he's not even part.
I
It seems like he's not.
he broke out.
Is he even?
He broke out,
Is he
and
still? Sorry. Is he still on the team like roster?
so that's a very good question because obviously the internet did go abuzz on Christmas Day that Pat was written off TV for the foreseeable future. So um, we don't know what that means. We don't know what that looks like. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the future of Mr. McAfee in the WWE. But yeah, let me see if I missed over any of the other NXT awards from last night.
Female competitor of the year.
female competitor of the year. I did hit that tag
Oh,
team of the year. Went to those Stooges in Undisputed Era. Um,
but look, the McAfee effect is already worked. I mean, what was I mean, not saying they were terrible dudes, Oni and Birch.
Oni and Danny.
Yeah, like they. I say first names then last name. But no, I mean like they weren't like I mean they were a respectable tag team, but they were never like you would never think they would be the tag team champs. So there was one more. Yeah, overall competitor of the year, Io Shirai. Excuse me. I agree with that. She's like the women's division on NXT has just been so much better than the men's division just because they're able to have a consistent presence there. Like, dude, I don't know. This has been like the worst year if you want to be like an NXT champion. You either hurt or you go up to the main roster. Like they had Finn Balor win it, and then he got hurt. Then they had Keith Lee win it. Had a couple for a couple of weeks or so. Moved up to WWE, and they had Killian Cross. I think he beat Keith Lee, and he got hurt as soon as he got it. So,
Right.
but
And then it went back to Finn.
yeah. But no, like Io Shirai definitely deserves it. She's been kind of, I would say she's been kind of the most consistent, presence on NXT. It's just you're going to see her, you're going to have a great match. I mean, this past like pretty much since she's won the championship, she's having like every takeover she's had like one of the best matches. It was just pretty much a award show. It was pretty much nothing. We saw Bronson Reed come back, and tonight I found out that don't watch NXT on Hulu. If you got like a Hulu subscription, there are some matches that get cut out. So I did not see the Grizzly Young Vets defeat Brizingo. Oh God,
Brizongo.
yeah, Brizongo.
Maybe I should be the one that's doing all the pronunciation things.
Maybe man, I'm just too nervous. Martinez, Mercedes Martinez defeated Latina Perez. That's what I missed. Grand Malik and Lince Dorado defeated La. Mark, I think I may need you to handle the Spanish stuff since you did get 2 years of Spanish in high school.
Okay, I'll have to pull it up.
But it's
While
it
you
no, it's the Liga del Fantasma. I think that's how you pronounce it.
that sounds pretty good for me not having the results pulled up right in front of me.
Pretty much the cruiserweight champion, and the show ended with NXT North American champion Johnny Gargano defeat Leon Ruff, and Pete Dunne defeated Roderick Strong, which was a pretty good match. It was kind of weird because they made mention to well also they that's when they announced that they're bringing back the Dusty Rhodes Classic because Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne have experience competing in it. Where in 2018 they reached the finals and Strong turned on Dunne and joined the Undisputed Era. I think in 2018. But during that match, I realized that they didn't even mention the War Games match. So that's where I'm like kind of confused. Maybe Pat did really get released,
We will
but
see. I have no idea.
Finn Balor talked with Kyle O'Reilly, pretty much talking about their match next week on New Year's Evil, which should hopefully live up to what their match of the year did. And do you think Kyle O'Reilly has any chance to beat Finn Balor, or do you think they're just gonna? Because I feel right now is the time for someone in Undisputed to win the title.
It's
And
not Adam Cole.
yeah, and then that kind of starts that. Remember how Evolution, like when Triple H wasn't the champion, or what, like wasn't the main guy contending for it, he kind of got mad, or he got jealous and turned on them.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that it's definitely possible. It does make me think of Kyle O'Reilly when he was still in Ring of Honor, and O'Reilly made his push for the Ring of Honor World Title, and the entire time, it was just everybody's kind of beating them down. You're a tag team wrestler. You're a tag team wrestler. Wrestling Red Dragon with Bobby Fish, and obviously they were an extremely dominant tag team. But everybody's just like, there's no way Kyle can be the world champion. There's no way Kyle can be the world champion, and Kyle did it because Kyle is a fantastic technical wrestler, and so Kyle definitely has a shot going up against the Prince. It's going to be a hard hitting matchup, and it'll be really interesting just to see how it goes. I'm excited to just sit back and watch it and enjoy it, and just go on the ride and the journey that they want to tell in the ring.
After that, Killian Cross and Scarlett came out. Pretty much said, why is Kyle O'Reilly, trying to combine those two names. Why is he getting a title shot and he's not because he dropped it. And then Damian Priest came out and they just started hammering against each other so much that they went across. Have you seen like you seen? Yeah, you seen like you remember like, how their version of the Thunderdome looks like?
Yeah,
It's something Capitol Center. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the Capitol Center or I'm missing something in between, but they were just going at it, just beating the tar out of each other. They just went to the extreme and they went through one of the barricades, but like it wasn't with the where the crowd was at. It was like towards the side, and there was like some mats
yeah.
right there, and they're going to have a match next week. I really like Damian Priest. I thought his North America title ended too soon. Then we saw a Rhea Ripley Raquel Gonzalez promo hyping up their last woman standing match next week. And also you missed a Timothy Thatcher Tommaso Ciampa promo about their fight pit match. So
Ooh,
all in all, I think we're going to have hopefully a good next Wednesday.
I agree. I agree. And that's the hard thing, with us going back and forth, just like when we were kids, you had Nitro and you had Raw, and you had to decide almost basically like where's your loyalty gonna lie. And it's not that I don't want to have my loyalty with NXT, but it's like I personally have set it up to where it's like NXT is two, and I, as much as possible, will watch Dynamite live and then go back and catch NXT later. The nice thing is we do live in a world now in 2020, well 2021 by the time you listen to this, where it's much more easy. You don't have to try to tape it on your VCR. You can just go back and watch it online or however you can access it.
This is what we wanted though. If you think about it, like we wanted a reason why, this stinks. I want to watch something else, but also wrestling. And this is like kind of what we wanted. And also it keeps everyone on their toes. Because I think Wednesday night's best night to be a wrestling guy, if you ask me, or gal.
Right. Well, and everything just kind of has its way of working itself out as far as throughout the week. Raw has always been for Mondays. Raw will always be, or Mondays will always be for Monday
Raw
Night Raw.
is
And then,
hard.
um, Tuesdays you have Impact Wrestling, which you can catch on Access TV or online, and also in the NWA has started a new series on YouTube, which I should remember the name of, but I don't. Um, but you can catch that NWA show on YouTube. I think that releases around 6. Um, and then obviously you've got Impact. I think it starts at 8, and then obviously the new show is called Shockwave, by the way, NWA Shockwave, and then the big show being, or the big night as far as like throughout the week of wrestling being Wednesday nights, um, and then Ring of Honor coming in on the weekend, and it's a wonderful time to be a professional wrestling fan. That's for sure.
And you got New Japan coming in at 3 in the morning where we're at. I mean, there's just not enough. We don't have time to sleep, wouldn't you say? Just
No,
too
and you
much
can sleep when
wrestling.
you're dead.
Yeah. And you got so much content on the WWE network. I mean, you're getting a steal for only 9.99.
Well, now every other promotion has their own network. There's the Ring of Honor Club. There's New Japan World. There's, I think, Impact has their own thing. I think it's called Impact
Mm-hmm.
Plus.
Dude, I kind of
And
want that
so,
just for the old TNAs.
um, you can have access to just about any kind of professional wrestling that you want. The internet does make it a very wonderful place, I will say.
Hmm. So, I mean, with speaking of New Japan, obviously their big event, Wrestling Kingdom, is going to be this week, or starts on January 4th, right?
Yes, so the
Excuse
big
me.
show for New Japan, you how dare you?
I'm
This is
sorry.
our podcast, dang it. Um, this is the biggest event for New Japan of the year, the January 4th show in the Tokyo Dome. And last year was the first year for New Japan with Wrestle Kingdom 14, where Wrestle Kingdom turned into a 2-day event. And obviously, again, this year, with so much going on, New Japan again is turning Wrestle Kingdom into a 2-night affair. Um, and I do remember some nights in the mid 2010s where I'd find an illegal stream at 3 a.m. and I would stay up through the night to watch Wrestle Kingdom, and by gosh, did I suffer the next day! But that was some incredible, incredible professional wrestling to watch. Um, and this New Japan card is just very stacked as far as the 2-night affair. The first night, I think the highlighted matches. I am interested to see Inta. He has the challenge rights for the IWGP United States Championship, and obviously that's been a big deal within the New Japan realm because Moxley, the IWGP US Champion, cannot get back to Japan to defend the title. And obviously, this is Moxley's second reign with the championship, and his first reign was actually cut short because there was a typhoon that affected his travel to Japan. And so New Japan actually cut his first reign short. They vacated the title. They did a whole thing. Um, to crown a new champion because John couldn't get overseas. And so now a lot of people have kind of been talking like, should New Japan strip John of the title because he can't get back over to defend it? Or do you hold out for John to be able to defend it because it's a pandemic and it's a really unique situation? But it's tough. Kenta's running out of things to do, and Kenta has been trying to call out John Moxley and call him out and just saying like you either defend the title or you give it to me because this is crap. And Tony Khan himself said John's not going to Japan. So this Kenta match against Satoshi Kojima as a singles match for the challenge rights to challenge the IWGP US Champion. That match is happening on night one. That'll be really interesting to see how that plays out for the storyline's sake. And then um, two other matches highlight night one of Wrestle Kingdom. Um, the headline fight, going to be extremely, extremely interesting. Is just a special, what New Japan would call their just a special match, a special singles match. Uh, Kazuchika Okada wrestling Will Ospreay. Obviously, those two used to be very close. Will has tried to go and make his own path and forge his own way out from underneath Okada, and so he's going to step up to the man on his stage on his night, January 4th in the Tokyo Dome. That's going to be a special match. Make sure you catch that. And then, of course, the main event for night one of Wrestle Kingdom, Tetsuya Naito is going to be defending his dual IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships against Kota Ibushi. That's going to be a hard hitting. That's going to be a special match. And then, of course, the winner doesn't really have any kind of time off because the winner of that match is going to have to turn around the next night and defend both of those championships against Jay White. And that main eventing night two of Wrestle Kingdom on January 5th. It's just wild, to think that either Naito or Ibushi, who will have gone through a really crazy, ridiculous match, is going to have to go through another crazy, ridiculous match with Jay White. And on top of that, you have all the added effects of the Bullet Club. Um, it's kind of hard to see Jay White somehow not coming out with the title when everything's said and done, but we'll see. Those IWGP the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championship matches are going to be really, really special. And then, of course, I think night two, the other big matches to look at. You've got Shingo Takagi. Probably butchered that name. I'm really sorry. Japanese is not my strong suit. But he's going to be defending his never openweight championship title against Jeff Cobb. And that's just going to be two big men, two big sweaty men bumping meat. And that's going to be power, hard, strong style wrestling that New Japan is known for. You're not going to want to miss that match. And then, for the sake of storyline, there's a special match, Evil versus Sonata. Obviously, those two guys, big tag team partners for a long, long time. Um, and now, you know, you have Evil who ended up joining the Bullet Club, turning on Sonata. Now they're gonna have everything ultimately come to a head at the biggest show of the year for New Japan, which is Wrestle Kingdom. So, um, those three matches I think are going to be the big matches to watch as far as night two is concerned, and it'll be interesting to see what Wrestle Kingdom will be like. I'm not sure if New Japan is going to have any fans. It looks like both nights will have a limited capacity of 20,000 fans in attendance for both nights at the Tokyo Dome. So, you're not going to have the full Tokyo Dome effect. Obviously, Japanese wrestling crowds interact way differently than American wrestling crowds, but it's a really unique thing. If you've not watched New Japan or Japanese wrestling, check it out. It'll be a really good show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's I kind of quit following New Japan just either like 2016 or 2017, just because like I'm just gonna be honest, like many of those guys that brought me to New Japan kind of left. Like AJ, the Good Brothers, and everything like that. But and Nakamura, but also like respect Tanahashi, you know, and Akuda. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. You know what I'm talking about, Mark?
Yeah,
Okada. Yeah, sorry,
we're
Okada.
talking about
Yeah,
Kazuchika Okada, who
yeah,
is still running New Japan,
yeah.
the
Sorry.
Rainmaker.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wish I could pronounce words right. But like when I was watching it, like they were having epics, and also like the Golden Lovers as well. I know it was kind of hard to watch it at first, just because I'm like in the mindset I gotta watch this live, and it's hard to watch New Japan live. But now, now I'm just like just give me whenever I want it. I'll wait the next day to watch it. I feel now like I'll be able to pay attention more and everything like that. But also, it's always a good start to, if you're an old fan who left it or trying to be a new fan of it. Wrestling Kingdom's kind of like the premier event to get back into it or start following it, because it's like what Mark said. It's like their version of WrestleMania or the Super Bowl. This is a big deal in Japan, and so like you're going to get a great show. But what was there was a question that you wanted to ask during the podcast before when we were talking. You want to discuss that now?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'll bring it up to you now, and I will say, just as another plug, with New Japan World, that's the New Japan's equivalent
Mm-hmm.
of WWE Network. Um, a familiar voice in Kevin Kelly is the lead announcer for the English commentary. Kevin has done an incredible job. Obviously, he started working with New Japan through Ring of Honor, and then he fell in love with the Japanese wrestling, and they opened up a really great opportunity because New Japan has been trying to expand their reach worldwide. And so Kevin Kelly, great on the English call. I also recommend, you know, even just for a match, pick one of those big matches and just listen to the Japanese announcing. You have no idea what's being said, but you can still feel the energy and the emotion because those guys are just so into what they're calling. It's just something super super unique. Um, but yeah, I think something that's really interesting because I know there was a small part of me I still would love to go to Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know if I'll ever make it to Japan in my lifetime, but I know that Tyler, you and I've talked about even trying to go see WrestleMania live in person. But a big thing that is so different now is just the fact that WrestleMania, like a WrestleMania kind of show, or even Wrestle Kingdom, you would plan basically a week's vacation, and you can still do that now. But now the fact that these shows are taking over 2 nights instead of just one, because like Wrestle Kingdom especially had so many matches on the card, like 15 or 16 matches on the card, and you try to give enough time for every match to be able to tell a story and to connect with the fans and the audience. And WrestleMania was that same way. You're trying to cram 12, 13, 14 matches on a card, or maybe you're going to do 10 matches on a card and then just literally shove everybody else in a battle royal and say, okay, we'll just try to duke it out. You're still going to get a payday for being on the show. It's just not going to be what you think it is. Um, do you think that we've seen the end of these like big main event pay-per-view style events that are one-day things? Um, or do you think that we might someday get back to a point where a WrestleMania will be over 2 days, or Wrestle Kingdom will be over 2 days? Obviously, even right now, AEW is still able to pull off one night pay-per-views, and they have been usually lasting about 4 hours or so, maybe three, depending on what's on the card. But I think I'm just interested. What do you think? Like, do you think that we might even get to a point where it's like maybe WWE will try to stretch out the big four to be 2 day events and make it this big long weekend because of how many people? Obviously, WrestleMania is a big deal because everybody travels, but even like the Rumble is big because people want to go see the Royal Rumble. People want to travel to SummerSlam, and so I think it might not be outside the realm of possibility for these big companies like WWE and New Japan to stretch their big events into 2 day shows. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna answer you in two ways. Um, I know that in the territory and like in the early days of wrestling, and I know Japan is bit known for that, like having multiple day events, and I guess it's kind of like just more on a WWE side because AEW it's kind of like they can do whatever they want because, and so like I wouldn't mind having like a 2 day event, but like if they make like WrestleMania or like SummerSlam, those like two days events, that's where I'm kind of like I feel like we just have too many matches that don't mean anything. Like look at last year's WrestleMania. Like it was headlined by Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte. I cared about that, going in like man, that's gonna be a great match. But dude,
Yeah,
it
but
it
here's
was
the
like hold on,
pause, pause.
it was like at
How
11 p.m. at night when that match happened. That like there were like 15 matches going on, so it's just like why do we need so many matches? I don't mind the events, but I'm just talking about like why does WrestleMania need 16 matches?
Well, obviously everybody's trying to get a payday, and I think it's a company standpoint. It's the company's trying to get the boys a payday. That's the biggest payday of the year, for better or for worse. That's just the way it is. I'm offended that you took a big shot at Gronk and Gronkomania. How dare you? Are you kidding? Like, saying that Gronkomania
Gronk.
wasn't as good as the triple threat women's match at WrestleMania.
See, I don't mind that because this year was different, just everything considered. But dude, that was gonna be my first WrestleMania, and dude, like I don't know if I was gonna be able to set through like a 6 hour wrestling of show. Like it's just
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to do even at home. Like when you're in the crowd and you're in the audience, it is just a way different feel than watching at home. And there's an extra energy that you give when you're in the crowd and you're cheering for your favorite wrestlers, or you're cheering against those guys that you just can't stand. And so to be doing that for like 5, 6, 7 hours, that's a lot. I mean, even 3 hours or 4 hours, that's a lot. Especially if if you're going hard from bell to bell.
hmm I mean, but it just seems like they're just pretty much doing that like right now because if with NXT, like yeah, it's sort of its own thing, but it's still a WWE thing. And then me and my older brother, when we were going to WrestleMania, we obviously got NXT tickets. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to see the Hall of Fame, but we would rather see the NXT takeover, and
Right.
that's how I feel most people are. But also, like, I don't know how it is in Japan, but prior to this year, dude, if when you went to WrestleMania, you had so many companies doing their own thing. You know, like hell, even Ring of Honor and New Japan did something in New York at Madison Square Garden when WrestleMania was in New York 2 years ago, or almost
Right.
2 years ago. Well, I was correct the first time since it's coming out in 2021, but I just I don't know. It just like I guess what I'm trying to say is like back in those days, it seemed like we wanted more wrestling, and now like we got too much.
And I don't disagree with you. I think obviously with like WrestleMania week, that's turned into a big event. And it's nice because the indies and the smaller promotions can come and they can piggyback. And I know that even WWE has been trying to push back because they want to try to make as much money as they can. I think that that's really good. Good night. But I think it's going to be interesting to see just as these companies grow. I mean, a thing that you have to take into consideration is how much larger WWE is as a company with the roster that they have compared to, you were talking about watching those shows in the 90s. I mean, good grief, the talent roster itself has probably doubled to the size where Raw has just as many guys on its roster as WWE did back in the mid 90s. And that's just one 3 hour television show.
Yeah, but dude, like,
Um,
it's not like this isn't the first time they did it. Cause I can remember back in 2002, that's when the first brand split happened. And dude, like, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I would say the talent level was definitely way better back then than it is today. And it just feels like people are getting left off of that. Why should people just be wrestling now just because? You think it's just because of like the WWE network?
I'm sure that that probably plays a really big part of it because they don't have to cater to a pay-per-view company. They produce it, they air it. It's all on their television. It's all on their dime, so they can do whatever they want whenever they want. And but WWE has their own. They air the pay-per-view. They produce it. They don't have to deal with pay-per-view companies anymore like they used to. So they are able to get away with more in that regard. But I don't know. In a sense, I see the benefit of being able to split it up so that you have more guys on the show. But I do think that the card, it's easier for matches to get lost in the shuffle. Whereas back in the day, you could look at an entire, specifically like a WrestleMania card, and you could say like, this match was good, this match was great, this match was super memorable, and now it's just more of like a we have to fill segments so everybody gets their spot,
Maybe we just gotta stop complaining. Just start enjoying it.
and just be thankful that in the midst of everything that we've gone through in this world, we still have professional wrestling. It's
Hmm.
that the fact that a lot of these companies, even with some companies like a New Japan or Ring of Honor, who did have to take some time off, the fact that they've still been able to come back and produce content for us to enjoy while a lot of people are facing a lot of uncertainty is pretty special.
Truer words, Mark. Truer words. Well, I think that's gonna do it here. Um, Hope we entertained you all. Cause I don't know about everyone else, but I sure had a good time filming filming this episode, recording this episode. Try to shoot something on Wednesday. Going to try to fill out a plan. Try to do the best we can. And you never know, we may add some stuff. We may remove some stuff because we may do a weekly show, not a weekly show, like cover weekly shows. So that includes like Raw, SmackDown. Try to do Impact, AEW, NXT, obviously. Maybe do NXT UK, New Japan, Ring of Honor, or who knows, or NWA. So we're just going to try to do the best we can, but also we may just like decide, you know what, we may just want to do retro stuff. Because I don't know, because that's one of the cool things I enjoy doing, watching right now on WWF in '93 is just seeing all these guys that I heard that was great, or like I only seen like a couple matches here and there, but I'm able to see everything like played out, and I mean honestly, man, I'm just gonna be honest, like I think I may have picked the wrong time, because this is like right where I'm at. It's after WrestleMania 9, which some people say, excuse me, is like the worst WrestleMania ever, and I I kind of agree with them, and and so like this is like when Hulk Hogan beat Yokozuna, and so like I'm going into the first King of the Ring, watching like all the pretty much what's available on the WWE Network, and I mean honestly it's kind of like what it is right now. Like there's some good, but there's also some bad. Like there's some stuff that I want to see this, but there are times where like if I'm not interested in like in the match current day, I'm just gonna be on my phone. That's what I'm doing right now. There's like this current wrestler. I mean, the wrestler back in the day. His name is Mr. Hughes, and he's just this big old black dude who wears suspenders. Not yeah, he wears dress shirt and tie and dress pants, and he wears suspenders, and he has sunglasses on, and he just sucks. Like I don't care about him, and what sucks is he's kind of like one of those guys that's kind of like he appears, random promotions here and there. Like he was in WCW, he was in WWF, and then he later appeared in WWF as a bodyguard for Chris Jericho when he first showed up to WWF. And but it just sucks because I have to see him, and I know he's going to wrestle Mr. Perfect at King of the Ring. So it's just like, gosh, I mean, obviously it's Mr. Perfect, but that's what I'm saying. Just like I don't know, I don't know. I just hear like people just constantly crap on current day wrestling, but also and they think like retro stuff is great. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't do retro stuff because I'm crapping on it, but but no, but
I'm
not.
doing the very same thing you said you wouldn't do.
But no, but I'm
No,
just saying.
I mean,
I'm just saying is it's just not. I don't know. I'm just
we might do a
rambling.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We might do some reviews of stuff back in the day. Do some like watch alongs. We might do some book reviews.
Yeah.
Might pick a book once a month and read it and tell you, hey, this book was really good. I can't wait to make Tyler read "Killing the Business" by the Young Bucks. He's gonna love that. I'm gonna love that. Um, and we just want to highlight professional wrestling because we love professional wrestling. That's why we're doing this. And if you love professional wrestling, come love professional wrestling with us. If you think our show sucks, hey, just say that could use some work or something. Like we're learning, we're growing, but we just want to talk about professional wrestling and share it because we love it, and
Mhm.
that's why we're doing it. And if you want to come along on the ride, MTPW, you're more than welcome to get on board, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And we may even do like TV reviews or movie reviews like that involve wrestling. 'Cause I know Mark really wants to watch the Big show on Netflix.
Well, really, I want to watch Ready to Rumble, but there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about. Dark Side of the Ring.
Mhm.
I heard that there's a really great David Arquette documentary that kind of covers his life after Ready to Rumble and winning the WCW World Championship, and now David Arquette, the fact that he does, he's continuing on the indie scene wrestling, and yeah, there's lots of avenues, lots of options for us to talk about what we love, and that's pro wrestling.
Mhm.
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Later.